How often do you cross paths with an American hero? Would you know their story if you did? With no state or federal funding, the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum continues to shine the spotlight on vets as they consider every day Veterans Day. In this edition of What's Your Story, a tale of faith, survival, and a tin cup.
Times during that ordeal that I think that's what pulled me through.
How do you measure time? For most, it's a duration between two events.
There's 7 years that I try not to think about.
During daily 30-minute swims, 91-year-old Bruce Sieber focuses on time gained, not lost.
There's only one word for that, and that's faith. You have faith in God, faith in your country, and faith in your fellow man. If you don't have that, you're lost. The good old days.
Bruce's cup has runneth over. His remarkable story takes off as a young daredevil pilot.
I think crazy is probably a better word.
Sieber's aviation resume featured 13 ocean crossings in a single-engine plane.
I don't think fear was really a factor.
That changed on October 5th, 1965. As Sieber's plane was shot down over North Vietnam.
I prayed a prayer of thanks to God, and a feeling came over me that I've never had before or since. There was no words spoken, but there was such a feeling that I knew I wasn't alone, and I knew that I was going to make it through that ordeal.
The captain spent his first 6 months in solitary confinement.
They gave you a set of pajamas, and they gave me that cup and that spoon. So the first few years, it was a starvation diet.
As a prisoner of war, Bruce's days turned into weeks, months, then years.
It was 7 years, 4 months, and 11 days.
With his young family back in West Monroe, Sieber refused to let his will or his pride be shattered.
You don't enjoy it and whatnot, but I don't think there's any reason to be bitter about it. I mean, it's you were mistreated and tortured and whatnot, but you know, that was part of war.
On February 12, 1973, Bruce and his cup were heading home.
Yes, they didn't seem to care, you know. I guess they didn't have any use for it.
With 3 promotions during captivity, the colonel raced home into the loving arms of his daughters and wife.
I don't think I have the words to describe that, but it was wonderful. It was quite an experience.
Bruce's story and thousands of others are told at the Chenault Aviation and Military Museum.
That is why we can't do enough to honor him and to make sure that his story lives on. Without this museum, nobody's going to know about those stories anymore.
This area is beautiful.
This weekend, the Red, White, and Blue Air Show will salute America's heroes. It's a label that Bruce is not comfortable with.
It's kind of embarrassing. I consider I was in the wrong place at exactly the wrong time. And those that lost their lives, I think, are really the heroes.
It's just humbling, you know, to be around people like this.
Thanks to veterans like Bruce,
He gave it all for 7 years.
we don't have to walk in their shoes, but it should be our obligation to take time to honor and to know their stories.
We just don't know the treasures that are around us, and we should, you know, take time to slow down and find out about other people.
Have you found your true calling in life? Something that gives you enormous satisfaction in the process helps a friend, a neighbor, or even a complete stranger. It sounds like an impossible feat, but tonight we meet a Ouachita Parish resident who has found a unique way to live his life to the fullest.
The freedom
Right, at least got a little breeze blowing.
of being able to go and come as you please.
These are mornings that Philip Thomas lives for.
One under each wing.
His checklist is pretty simple. He's on a mission to make a difference.
It's incredible that it started from a dream, and It just wasn't a dream, it was a vision from above.
Sometimes it may be 8 or 10,000.
A part-time pilot since 1975, Thomas's flight path changed drastically in December of 2007.
Wow, this is unbelievable. Same dream 2 nights in a row. Maybe God's trying to tell me something.
He buckled up as divine intervention took over.
God's trying to tell us that we need to help fly more patients and help people go to special treatment facilities.
You have to give me one.
Inside the hangar, we spot Adelie and her brother Jude. Their game of checkers abruptly comes to an end with the arrival of their favorite pilot.
Very touchy. It makes it all worthwhile.
A daddy's girl, I take it?
Absolutely.
Just a little.
With a heart of gold, Adelie has become a frequent flyer.
She flies like a champ, just like riding in a car to her. She flies like a champ.
Clouds.
There was a turbulent start to Adelie's life. Born of the heart defect, she underwent 3 open heart surgeries in 5 years.
She's got courage and bravery oozing from her.
And we're so happy that we can fulfill.
Adelie is blessed to have angels in the air. Philip's nonprofit organization, Pilots for Patients, has helped the Bakers make doctor's appointments across the South in a timely manner.
And the fact that he can't come with us and we have to leave him behind. We get home sooner to him and we become whole again.
This is just one of nearly 8,000 stories. Every summer, Pilots for Patients celebrates significant milestones.
And I think in Galatians it says, share one another's burdens, and so that's what we're doing. We're sharing one another's burdens.
Since Philip's first dream in 2007, the organization has completed 7,763 missions, with enough nautical miles flown that they could have gone around the equator 132 times.
We pray with them. We give them encouragement when they're physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally distraught.
And get this, the 140 Louisiana pilots are not compensated for their time, plane, or fuel.
We charge hugs.
And Adelie has plenty of those to give out.
A color piece?
With no restrictions, this 5-year-old is trading in waiting rooms for playgrounds.
Resilience. Stop it, please.
She's not bashful with the scar, then.
No.
That's
It's
her
just
mark.
It's part of who she is.
Mm-hmm.
Just a piece, though.
And her story will always hold a place in the hearts of Louisiana pilots.
It's been quite a ministry. We never dreamed.
This week, Philip hit an impressive milestone, his 600th mission as he transported a Murrow couple to Houston. Pilots for Patients is a nonprofit and receives no funding from state or federal agencies. To continue to make a difference in the lives of others, they do host a major fundraiser in August. The Prop Blast will take place on August 24th on the campus of ULM. If you're interested in tickets or helping out, give Pilots for Patients a call at 322-5112. It may be hard to believe, but years ago, the biggest acts in the country were making routine stops at the Civic Center. The Jacksons, Tina Turner, B.B. King all played in front of sold-out crowds. In fact, tonight's story features one of the most significant figures of the 20th century. An area woman tells us how a second-row, center aisle seat led to a gem of a story.
We got a little Cajun soul food.
As Rhonda Bowler-Williams whips up another day's menu at Simply Southern Cafe,
3 more cups of water in this gravy.
the queen of the kitchen has the king of rock and roll on her mind.
We can go on together.
This is a whopper of a story, a tale that may get you all shook up.
And if they're an Elvis fan, they're just, in awe or whatever.
Oh, Elvis Presley's coming to Murrow, Louisiana.
50 years ago, Rhonda's family was not about to miss an historic performance at the Civic Center.
And that's unbelievable that a mom and an aunt would take a 5 and a 3-year-old to a rock concert.
In 1974, Marvin Dearman was an up-and-coming officer looking for some jailhouse rock.
Not only did he play here, but he played here 3 nights in a row. So we had chaos.
Elvis had Rhonda on his mind as he brought the 5-year-old onto the stage and attempted to give her a scarf.
And as he's putting me back down to the guards, 2 teenage girls decide that they want it and start to play tug-of-war around my neck.
And he looked down and he said, "Officer, hand me that little girl." So I reached up there and I handed him the little girl, and he grabbed my arm right here, and I hadn't washed it yet.
Comes back over, puts me on his knee, and puts the necklace around my neck and tells me that nobody's ever going to take this away, and tells the guards to make sure we get home safe.
Next thing I know, it had made the national news, and it just went from there.
Rhonda goes home with a big hunk of love, a large cross pendant.
It's tourmalines. I had 18 tourmalines. They're like a dark green color with a little diamond in the middle, embedded in gold with a long rope chain.
From that day on, Rhonda was known as that Elvis girl.
I mean, I like it.
She was also a big hit at her school's show and tell.
No, I think I did once, and I got in really big trouble. About 3rd grade, I think.
Rhonda held on to the pendant for 34 years until the owners of the King at Ransom's Museum gave her fair market value for a piece of history.
That's what I love about it. Like, everybody gets to see it.
An Elvis-themed item has yet to crack Rhonda's menu, but he will always be on her playlist.
You still consider Elvis, even with all the performers that have come through, still is the greatest of all time?
Of course, yeah. He would be the only one I would stand in line to go see.
That is Rhonda's story. What is yours? Or perhaps you know of a great human interest story that needs to be told. I'd love to tell it. Just drop me an email at aaron.dietrich@knoe.com.